part of her still loved him deeply. After a long silence, she said quietly, "I'll keep the baby." Relief flooded Ethan's face. "But I'm scared," she added. Ethan kissed her forehead. "I'll protect you." And for a while, it felt like things were finally going to be okay. Months later, Ethan was always there. Doctor appointments, late-night cravings, baby shopping. He treated Naledi like a queen. He bought her a bigger car, then surprised her with a beautiful new house. It felt like a dream. Until one afternoon, Naledi's phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" A cold voice responded. "So you're the woman sleeping with my husband." Naledi's blood ran cold. "Who is this?" The man laughed softly. "You really don't know?" Naledi's heart pounded. "I'm Ethan's husband." Her hand started shaking. "What do you want?" she whispered. "I just wanted to see what kind of woman Ethan is using this time," the man said cruelly. Naledi's stomach twisted. "You're nothing but a distraction," he continued. "A toy." "That's not true," Naledi said weakly. "Oh, sweetheart," the man mocked. "You think he loves you?" Tears filled her eyes. "You're just a woman he uses when he wants to pretend he's straight." Before the man could continue, Ethan suddenly grabbed the phone from Naledi. "That's enough." His voice was cold. "Don't ever call this number again," Ethan said sharply. "Or what?" The man laughed. "Or I'll make sure you regret it." Then Ethan ended the call. Naledi looked at him with wide eyes. Ethan wrapped his arms around her protectively. "I won't let him hurt you." Naledi nodded slowly. She felt scared, but also strangely reassured. 7 months pregnant. Naledi's stomach was now round and beautiful. The baby kicked often. Ethan loved talking to the baby. They spent most evenings in their new home together. For a moment, it felt like a real family. Until one night. Naledi and Ethan were sitting in the living room, laughing about baby names. Suddenly, the front door opened. Both of them turned. A tall man walked inside like he owned the house. Naledi's heart dropped. He looked calm, confident, dangerous. His eyes locked onto Ethan. "Well," the man said slowly, "I finally get to meet the woman carrying my husband's child." Naledi's blood turned cold. Ethan stood up immediately. "What are you doing here?" The man smirked. "Oh, Ethan." He pulled out a key and held it up. "You seem to forget something." He looked around the house slowly. "This house? This life? All of it?" His smile grew darker. "Belongs to me, too." Naledi's heart started racing. Because in that moment, she realized something terrifying. Ethan's husband wasn't just angry. He looked like a man who had come for war. And her unborn baby might be caught right in the middle of it. The night the truth exploded felt like the beginning of a storm that had been building for months. Naledi would remember that moment forever. The door swinging open. The man walking in like he owned the world. And the look in his eyes. It was the look of someone who had come for war. Naledi and Ethan were sitting on the couch when he entered. The air in the room instantly changed. The man shut the door slowly behind him. "Wow," he said, scanning the room. "So this is where you've been hiding your little family." Ethan stood up immediately. "What are you doing here?" he asked sharply. The man laughed without humor. "What am I doing here? That's the question you're asking me?" His voice rose. "Why didn't you tell me about her?" His eyes shifted to Naledi's pregnant belly. "And about the baby." Naledi felt her chest tighten. Ethan clenched his jaw. "I did tell you." "Don't lie to me," the husband shouted. "I'm not lying," Ethan snapped back. "And I'm serious this time." The man frowned. "Serious about what?" Ethan took a deep breath. "I want a divorce." The room went silent. Naledi's heart pounded in her ears. "I'm done," Ethan continued. "I want to focus on my child and the woman I love." The husband's face darkened. "A divorce?" he repeated slowly. "Yes." The man shook his head, disbelief turning to anger. "You think after everything I did for you, I'm just going to let you walk away?" Ethan stepped closer. "And where would you be without me?" he shot back. "Don't act like I didn't help you build everything you have."
The husband's eyes filled with a mixture of rage and hurt. "You're choosing her over me? I'm choosing my life." That was the moment everything exploded. "You ungrateful!" the husband shouted, throwing a glass across the room. It shattered against the wall. Naledi jumped in fear. "Stop!" she cried. But the two men were no longer listening. The argument turned into shouting. Shouting turned into pushing. And pushing turned into violence. They grabbed each other, fists flying. A chair crashed to the floor. A lamp shattered. Naledi's heart raced as she clutched her stomach. "Stop, please, stop!" she begged. But they kept hitting each other like years of anger had finally erupted. Naledi's breathing became heavy. She was terrified for her baby. Her hands shook as she grabbed her phone.
She called security, then the police. "Please come quickly," she said, her voice trembling. "There's a fight." Minutes felt like hours. Finally, security guards and police officers rushed into the house. "Break it up," one officer shouted. The men were pulled apart. The husband glared at Ethan while being restrained. "This isn't over," he said coldly. Naledi stood frozen, holding her stomach. The officers escorted him outside. The house was silent again. Broken glass everywhere. Furniture overturned. Ethan wiped blood from his lip. Naledi looked at him, shaken. Ethan immediately pulled out his phone. "I'm calling my lawyer," he said. Naledi watched him pacing back and forth, making urgent calls. Then suddenly, without much explanation, Ethan grabbed his keys. "I'll fix this," he said. And just like that, he left. 2 weeks later. Surprisingly, everything became calm again.
too calm.
Ethan stayed close to Naledi, more protective than ever. Doctor visits continued. Baby shopping continued. Life looked normal on the outside, but something felt different, like a storm waiting quietly in the distance. One evening, Ethan sat beside Naledi at the dining table. "I have to go on a work trip," he told her. "For how long?" she asked. 2 days. Naledi nodded. "Okay." But deep inside, she felt uneasy. Still, she tried to trust him. 2 days later, when Ethan returned, Naledi opened the door, and her heart nearly stopped, because he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was his husband. Naledi's body froze. Fear rushed through her. "What is going on?" she asked quietly. Ethan looked serious. "We need to talk." They all sat down in the living room. The tension was heavy.
The husband spoke first. "We came to tell you something." Naledi's hands rested on her belly. Her instincts told her she wasn't going to like what she was about to hear. Ethan exhaled slowly. "We're not getting divorced." Naledi felt like the floor disappeared beneath her. "What?" she whispered. "If we divorce," Ethan explained, "we lose too much. Assets, companies, business deals, everything." The husband leaned back confidently. "So we decided something smarter." Naledi looked between them in confusion. Ethan continued. "He's moving back in with me." Naledi stared at him, shocked. "What do you mean?" "He won't cause problems," Ethan said quickly, "and he can date whoever he wants." The husband smirked slightly. Naledi's heart started beating faster. "And you," Ethan added gently, "should move back to your place." Silence filled the room. "But we'll still be together," Ethan said. "We'll still date. We'll raise the baby." Naledi couldn't believe what she was hearing. "We can all be happy," Ethan said. But then he added something that pierced her heart. "You just can't expect me to divorce him and marry you." The words hit her like a cold wind. Naledi sat there quietly, her mind spinning, her heart breaking in slow motion. Inside, her thoughts were loud. How can I bring a baby into this? How would she explain this one day? How would she tell her child, "Your father is married to a man"?
But also in love with me? What kind of life was that? What kind of future? Naledi looked down at her stomach. She loved this baby already. But the world around her suddenly felt complicated and unstable. She looked at Ethan. She knew he loved her. She could see it in his eyes. But love alone suddenly didn't feel like enough. Because now she was living with a fear that everything could change again at any moment. And for the first time since the airport, Naledi began to wonder something she had been avoiding. Naledi stood in the middle of her bedroom, staring at her suitcase. It felt like her entire life had flipped in a single day. A pregnancy she never planned. A man she loved. Married to another man. A future that no longer made sense. Ethan's words echoed in her mind. "Go back to your place. But we'll still be together." Together? What kind of together was that? Naledi shook her head slowly. "I can't do this," she whispered to herself. She placed her hand on her stomach. Her heart softened for a moment, then hardened again. "My career is finally taking off," she said quietly. "I can't let this destroy everything. And deeper than that, I'm not a homewrecker." She had been raised better than that. She didn't know before. But now she did. And now she had a choice. "I'm walking away," she said firmly. Ethan refuses. When Naledi told Ethan her decision, he refused to accept it. "No," he said, shaking his head. "You don't mean that." "I do." "I won't let you go," he said, his voice breaking. "Please, just give me time." Naledi frowned. "Time for what, Ethan?" "To fix everything." Naledi laughed bitterly. "You're the one who said you won't divorce him." Ethan stepped closer. "Just trust me." That was the problem. Trust. How do you trust a man who says he's not gay, but is married to a man? How do you trust someone whose life feels like a contradiction? Naledi pulled away. "I don't believe you." Ethan looked at her like he was about to say something more, but instead, he disappeared. 3 weeks of silence. Ethan vanished. No calls, no messages. Nothing. Naledi tried reaching him. His phone went straight to voicemail. It was like he had never existed. Except every week, money came in. Large amounts. More than she needed. Naledi stared. The notifications on her phone. "What game are you playing, Ethan?" she whispered. But deep down, she already knew. She was on her own. Sitting alone in her apartment one morning, Naledi made the hardest decision of her life. "I can't do this," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I won't bring a child into chaos." She booked the appointment, and days later, it was done. The pregnancy was gone. Just like that. Naledi cried, but she also felt a strange sense of control. "I choose me," she whispered. And slowly, she continued with her life. 3 months later, a knock at the door. Naledi wasn't expecting anyone. When she opened it, her heart stopped. Ethan. He stood there, looking tired, but hopeful.
"Baby," he said softly. "I'm sorry." Naledi stared at him, emotionless. "I had to disappear to fix things," he continued. "But now I'm back." He smiled slightly. "Everything is sorted. You, me, and the baby. We're going to be fine." Naledi's chest tightened. She looked him straight in the eyes. "I got rid of it." Ethan froze. "What?" "The pregnancy," she said. "It's gone." Ethan shook his head slowly.
"No, you're lying."
"I'm not." His eyes searched her face desperately. "Tell me you're lying, Naledi." She didn't respond. Silence confirmed everything. Ethan stepped back like he had been hit. "How could you?" he whispered. Naledi's voice hardened. "How could you put me in that situation?" "You told me you wouldn't leave your husband." "I didn't want to be part of that mess. I chose myself." Ethan collapsed onto the couch. And then he started crying. Not quietly. Not softly. Broken. Naledi had never seen him like that. Her heart twisted. She walked to the kitchen, poured him water, and handed it to him. Ethan looked up at her, eyes red. "You acted on emotion," he said. "You didn't even give me time." Naledi frowned. "What are you talking about?" Ethan's voice shook.
I disappeared because I was filing for divorce. Naledi's breath caught. I wanted to marry you, he said. I wanted our child to be born into a real home. Tears filled her eyes instantly. What? I fought for us, he continued. I risked everything. Naledi's knees felt weak. I didn't know, she whispered. Ethan dropped to his knees in front of her. I love you, he said. Please, tell me you didn't do it. Naledi broke down crying. It's been 2 months, she said. The baby is gone. Silence. Heavy. Final.
Naledi seems like she made the wrong decision, and she might lose the love of her life. Find out what's going to happen next in part 3. Please like, subscribe to this channel.